Okay, so the next one we're going to introduce signaling. So we always start from this very classic study about used cars. So there's a professor, Professor Aklov. So in 1970, he made a paper regarding the study of used cars. So what's that? We all know that people may trade used cars in a market, and a seller typically knows more about car quality, right? As a buyer, we typically don't know much about it. We don't know whether the seller has taken care of that car. And also, we as a buyer, we don't want to buy a lemon, which means a car whose quality is not as good as the price should be. All right? So the buyer is unwilling to offer a high price. If you believe that the quality may be high, medium, or low, but you have no idea which one, then roughly you would be willing to pay your price to a median car, something like that. You will be unwilling to offer a high price. If that's the case, then those guys who have a good car, what will they do? They're going to leave the market, all right? So if you have a high car, if you have a high quality car, but you only see a low price or a medium price, you're going to say, hey, why do I want to do that? I'm going to leave the market. And then consumers will see that we only have medium and low cars. We're going to offer only the price that is the average of here. And then median cars will also disappear, and so on and so on and so on. So eventually, no one is happy. And we call this adverse selection because no one really asks the high quality cars to leave the market. But because of information asymmetry, such adverse effect would appear. And because of information asymmetry, no one is able to solve this problem. Then there is no way for you to keep high quality cars here. Okay, so you may see that even for consumers, they are unhappy because they are unable to buy good cars. And for car sellers, most of them are unhappy. Only those guys with the lowest quality, they would feel happy. So in this case, still the market is so inefficient. So why may sellers having good cars do? In fact, they are still able to do something, right? For example, many of us would keep the records of maintenance and checks, try to convince people that indeed we are having good cars. Or sometimes we may say, okay, it's fine, trust me, I'm going to fix whatever problem you have in the following half an year. Something like that. So we do observe that the two ideas are quite different. If you do the second one, basically you are just telling something, okay? Your words is not a guarantee. So in that case, we always see that this is going to be what? In some sense, unbelievable, okay? It's not convincing. On the other hand, if you do something that other people cannot do, then it's better. If you always maintain your car and check your cars regularly at a reliable vendor, then you are able to show this kind of proofs. For others, they cannot. That can be a good way to differentiate yourself from those low quality cars. Okay, that may one action to do. A very similar thing happens to labor markets. So there's another professor, Spence, in a few years later studied the market of labors. There are several persons. They privately know their ability or productivity. They want to get hired, but unfortunately, companies cannot see a worker's ability directly. Also, companies don't want to hire low productivity workers. So the company is going to see that, okay, there may be high quality workers, medium high quality workers, low quality workers. As a company, the price or the wage I want to pay would be just roughly at the median level. So those guys that are really productive, what they will do, they will leave the market, okay? Just like those high quality cars. So the way for them to leave the market is, for example, to take another higher degree, or maybe they will just leave this market and go to somewhere else to work. Okay? Again, no one is happy. So what may productive applicants do? Again, they may provide certificates, awards, higher education degrees. Those are some ways that they may do to differentiate themselves with those low quality applicants. Okay, it's because that I am so strong, so that I can get this certificate, so that I can get these awards. It's because that I'm so strong, so that I may get this master degree or something else. So the interesting thing is that even if they do not enhance one's productivity, even if that's the case, still there is a reason to get that. So that's considered higher education degrees. Okay, so suppose I'm just saying suppose you are considering Harvard Business School. Okay, and somehow Harvard MBA has gave you admission, and it's cheap enough, and you just live at Boston, so it's really okay for you to study in Harvard MBA. And suppose the teaching quality in Harvard MBA is terrible. Okay, suppose students there don't want to study. Suppose the only thing that is going to happen is that you're going to spend 2 years there and then go out, and then people will see, oh my God, you are Harvard MBA. Okay, suppose Harvard MBA cannot teach you anything. Will you still try to study in Harvard instead of NTU? Well, I guess Harvard still seems good, right? Because by getting the admission from Harvard and by graduating from Harvard MBA, you show your productivity. Unlike if you study in NTU and then graduate, you still show your ability somehow, but the effect is not as strong as Harvard. All right? So what really matters in some sense is we don't only care about the teaching quality, the learning quality. Regarding higher educations, we do care about its signaling effect. Whether this degree is going to make other people be convinced that I'm a good person, be convinced that I'm a high quality applicant. That's the idea. So to summarize, we are talking about signaling. Signaling is the case that we as a leader, we have some information. We want to do something so that those followers may get our idea. So we want to send a signal to followers, especially those high quality leaders. You own a very good car, you are a very strong worker, you try to send signals to other people to try to convince them that you are just so strong. Okay? In that case, promise in words do not work. Only actions may say something, right? Actions like getting a degree, actions like getting certificate or maintenance check. That would be something that low quality guys cannot do. Only by doing that, you will be able to show your quality, to signal your quality. So to make it effective, those actions must be difficult to be done. Or we should say that different leaders should do different things. If you are strong, you get this. If you are not so strong, you do that. That means my action must be too costly for others to do. Only when this is too costly, so that will have some signaling effect. So there can be all kinds of examples. For example, I may provide refund guarantee. I say selling something. Okay, so this always happens for some retailers or restaurants and so on. They may say, okay, come to try my meal. And if you think my meal is not so tasty, then I'm going to refund you, something like that. So it is because that I know my quality is so high, my meal is so good, so that I will be able to offer this refund guarantee. Okay? If my quality is bad, I'm not going to do that. That's hopefully useful. And also, high price product warranty sometimes also have the same effect. So somehow you also agree that signaling or screening, they may be effective, but they are not always effective, of course. Whenever you do see information asymmetry, you try to do something. No one says the action you do can solve the problem 100%. But still, that may help in some cases. and you try your best to try to remedy that. So a very quick summary. Information asymmetry may be divided into two categories, either adverse selection with hidden information or moral hazard with hidden action. Okay? And when we talk about hidden information, it matters whether you are trying to get some information or when you are trying to convey some information to somebody else. Okay? There are screening problems and the signaling problems. So that's pretty much the framework about information asymmetry.